Hey, what is going on everyone, and welcome back to another YouTube video. My name is Noah Shaw or Ford6Fo, and today I'm super excited for the video. We're going to be installing my new Stryker lift kit system that we powder coated in the last video and throwing on my HG Pro Forge wheels and Versatire. So let's go ahead and get right into the video, get all these parts installed, and I hope you enjoy. And here is the finished product of all of our powder coating we did today, and it just came out absolutely amazing. I'm super happy with it, and big thank you to Patriot Powder Coating for helping me out on this and letting me powder coat the pieces myself. And check out that pearl white finish. And I threw on all the chrome overlays. They need a little bit of a polish, but man, is this really just gonna look so awesome on our 2022 dually build. I'm super excited to throw it back all on. So let's go ahead, get started on this process of installing it back on the truck. We're gonna start with throwing all the track bar drop bracket on, the springs, the new shocks, the sway bar, and the track bar, of course. And then we're gonna move on to taking off our factory radius arms and throwing on our new 4-link system. And guys, all these lift components are from Stryker. They do an amazing job on their kits. Everything just fits in perfect and looks awesome. So big thank you to Stryker as well for helping us out on this kit. I've already installed one on my previous truck, and I was just so happy that I had to put another one on. So that's what we decided to go with on the dually. So let's go ahead, get this Stryker lift kit installed and put on. So first piece of the puzzle I'm gonna go ahead and throw up there is the track bar drop bracket. And it's gonna go in with the 18mm socket, so I'm just gonna run these down and get it tightened up. And I'm gonna go ahead and get the back 3 nuts on the other side and torque these all to spec. And then we're gonna be ready to start on the springs and the rest. The back side's gonna have 3 21mm, so I'm just gonna grab an 6-inch extension, a swivel, and a deep 21. And we're gonna tighten these 3 down now for the track bar drop bracket. Ratchet and get it snugged down perfect. And now to get the new spacers and the springs in, I'm going to go ahead and put our jack underneath the axle, lower it down, and take these jack stands out of the front so we have room to put the new springs in and the new little spacer puck right there. So let's go ahead and drop it. So just like so, I went ahead and jacked up our axle to where I can get these jack stands set out of the way for right now. And then we are going to drop the axle down further and put in the new spring assembly. Set these jacks up. And then slowly, super carefully, I'm just gonna lower this axle down. And get enough room to put those springs in. Lowered the axle pretty low down here. I slide the plate over, and now I'm gonna go on both sides, install the spring just like this. And then we're gonna jack it up and line it up with that top spring mount. And then these are gonna be good to go. Set it into place, just like so. And I'm gonna grab my spacer plate, mount it up top, and slide this in. Now we're gonna jack up the axle and get this up. And now I went ahead and jacked the axle back up, and we've got the spring set in place with the little spacer puck. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to mounting the front shocks and the front track bar and the sway bar as well. Turning out awesome so far. So right now I'm just going ahead and running the track bar down by hand before we torque it to spec with just a little bit of a small 1/2-inch ratchet with the 30mm socket and 30mm wrench on the other side. So now that I've got the track bar all mounted down and the springs, I'm gonna go ahead and throw our front sway bar on now. So let's do it. Go ahead and line up the first top ones first and just get them started. I'm just gonna start the nuts all the way around. Now with the 15mm, I'm gonna snug these 4 bolts down. And now our whole front end of the truck's coming together. Check out how cool all of that white powder coat looks. All of the sway bar, front springs, the top lift puck, and everything is in. Now I just gotta put on the front shocks, and then we're gonna move on to our 4-link and the rear shocks on the truck. So super easy. If you watched the disassembly video, you'd know how to take the shocks on and off, but we're just gonna hand tighten them first, and then I'm gonna torque them down. It takes a little bit of time, so I'm just gonna get them slid in right here for y'all. Start from the bottom, and we're gonna slide it up into place. I'm gonna slide our little new rubber bushing on, make sure it's faced the correct way. And then after, you're gonna slide the little washer on top and then the lock nut. And then I'm just gonna get it hand screwed down. And then I'm gonna line up our factory bolt that goes on the bottom. And I'm gonna keep that Stryker logo faced towards the front, keep it nice and clean. Same exact process on the passenger side. I'm just gonna start it by hand first. And then once we slide in the factory bottom bolt, we're gonna be good to go ahead and tighten all these up. And we finally went ahead and got all the Heim joints installed. You just wanna make sure about a 1/2 inch of threads are showing from after the jam nut. Now we're gonna go ahead, drop our factory radius arm brackets off the truck and throw in the new 4-link design. So for the frame drill bit, you're gonna need a 27/64 inch bit. And for the tap, you're gonna need a 1/2 inch by 13 for the frame. So now we went ahead and put the front back on jack stance, and we got the one main jack in the middle, and I'm gonna drop the radius arm. We're gonna do one side at a time right here, and all these 3 bolts are gonna be 24mm. So we're gonna get those out and start putting in the new radius arm drop bracket, drill and tap our 1 hole right here, and then set in place all the 4-link bars. It's out, drop that factory ugly radius arm out, swap it over to one of these. Well guys, we're throwing the 4-link on now, and I finally found a use for my 41mm wrench because it actually fits the jam nut perfectly. So we finally got the driver's side 4-link all mounted up, and we snugged down those bolts just a little bit. And now we're gonna go ahead and tap and drill our frame right here to the one mounting bracket there and put the new hardware into the frame. And then we're gonna go ahead and repeat the same process on the passenger side and come back to y'all. And while putting these all in, you can see all the spacers in between for each set comes with the kit. And then we went ahead and unbolted the radius arm on the other side to get these holes on this driver's side to line up. Now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the passenger side. And I actually went ahead and dropped the sway bar real quick because we have to add on these sway bar drop brackets real quick. So I'm gonna go ahead, throw those in, and put the sway bar back on. Moving on to the passenger side, I'm gonna go ahead and get the radius arm off with the 24mm socket and wrench. And we're gonna set it aside and start to slide in that new 4-link on this passenger side also. Go ahead and put in the new Stryker radius arm drop bracket. Make sure we have our spacer plates for between the mounting spot. I'm just gonna slide underneath here and get the one middle bolt started. What these spacer plates right here do is there's a little bit of a gap in the mounting bracket right here, so you go ahead and slide these behind and line them up with the new bolt on both sides. So I'm gonna go ahead and set my spacer in place, make sure I have a washer on my bolt. Just like so, the bolt is through. We put a washer and our nut on the back side, and then our 4-link bar right there is mounted up, ready to put the 4-link connected to it, and then at the end we will drill and tap the last hole. Head and get our new 4-link bars. I'm gonna slide in here. I'm gonna start with the top one, and then we're gonna do the bottom one. Put the factory bolts in on the front side, and then we're gonna adjust our Heim joint right here to fit into the top hole right here. All right guys, so the last thing we got to do is throw on the rear shocks now, but check out that finished look all the way up front. And on the passenger side, we just wrapped up getting everything installed. So now I'm going to go ahead, throw the front wheels and tires on. All right guys, so we finally finished the whole front end, and I'm going to go ahead and throw the rear setup on now. I already got the inside wheels on and my spacers mounted in and torqued to spec. So I'm going to throw these back wheels on and check them out. And I went ahead and I went with some True Spike lug nuts. They're 3-piece setup. I got some from a quarter truck, so I'm going to go ahead and toss those. Okay guys, so I just got all those lug nuts bottomed out, and now we're going to go ahead and torque them to spec, and then throw the spikes on, and repeat the same on the passenger side, and drop the rear end on the ground. And with the True Spike design, it's really cool. They got this little cover that hides the lug nut, then you've got a little O-ring on there, and then you just screw on your little spike, and just like that, it's completely hidden and on. So I'm gonna repeat this process for all of the others on the driver's side and passenger side and come back to y'all. And the whole rear end of the vehicle is done now. I'm gonna go ahead and drop our jack. I took the stands out and set this thing finally on the ground. And guys, to mount up these awesome HD Pro Forge wheels and Versatires in the front, we're gonna have to take off the stock adapters right here so they can bolt right up. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all of those nuts all the way around, taken off, and get this adapter plate off. So for getting all the adapter bolts off, I went ahead and set my pry bar between the studs and put my leg over it, and then I've got my wrench here set on the nut, and then I'm gonna grab my Tecton dead blow and just whack it a few times. Then I go ahead and place my other hand on the bottom of the wrench and get my dead blow and then I place my 21mm wrench on the nut and grab my dead blow and just whack it, and it breaks it loose really easy. As you can see, and just like that, the nut's broken loose, and we can go ahead and take it all the way off. Now I've got all the nuts off the adapter plate. I'm just gonna go ahead and whack it with the dead blow. Break it loose a little bit. Should be able to grab it off now, set to the side. All right guys, I'm super excited now with that adapter off. We can finally throw these HD Pro Forge wheels on in the front. We went with some 24x12 super single, so let's go ahead, line these up, and throw them on. Just like that. Man, does that look good. And now we've got the whole driver's side on, that 24x12 with the 36 14.5 Versatire tire. Man, does this setup look mean. It just is huge. You can see how much it sticks out. Man, am I excited just to see how all of this is coming together and piecing up just like I liked. And soon we're gonna have all the parts back from Paint Match to really get this thing back on the road. And super easy, I got that last little adapter off. And we're gonna go ahead and set our new wheel and tire on the passenger side and set this thing on the ground. Last wheel and tire going on the truck finally, so we can wrap this thing up. Just gonna go ahead and roll it in. Just like that, we're in. And lastly, I'm just gonna go ahead and drop the jack, set the truck on its own weight, and get these horses back. Went ahead and checked over them all. We're all good to go. Well guys, here is the finished product with all of my HD Pro Forge wheels and Versatires on, and that amazing Stryker lift kit suspension with their 4-link kit. Man, did it just turn out amazing. Let me know what y'all thought about it in the comments below. But that powder coating also, if you didn't see the last video, powder coating all these pieces, it turned out awesome. And I'm very, very excited to get all the parts back from Paint Matched to really wrap this thing up and pull it outside of the shop finally. And I even found one of my Gen Y hitches for my old truck that matches that pearl white powder as well. But man, am I excited to finally see this thing wrapped up this week, so stay tuned. But guys, that's gonna wrap it up for today's video. So if you did enjoy, please leave a like down below, comment, let me know what you think about the wheels and tires and the lift kit finally on the dually. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. But other than that, I appreciate y'all watching, and I'll see y'all next time.